Hey, what's up? This is Sonteo Media. I'm here with Vergil Ortiz's dad and trainer. Vergil Ortiz is from Grand Prairie, Texas. He's 16-0 with 60 knockouts. He's promoted by Golden Boy Promotions. He's got a fight lined up that just got announced for March, and sounds like it's going to be in Fort Worth. And there was a lot of anticipation for the fight. A lot of people on social media knew about it, but it wasn't officially announced until last week. So, how you doing, Vergil?
Pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. The first topic I want to go over with you, Vergil, is, and we kind of were talking about it earlier, is a lot of people, a lot of fans, always see Robert in the corner, you know. But I kind of want to make it clear that you've been with your son since the age of 5, and you've been training him pretty much all his career. And if I'm not mistaken, you've only missed a couple of his amateur fights. Hector Beltran kind of slid in as a replacement because you had to work on the weekend, or for some reason you're unable to make the trip to an amateur fight. But it's a team effort. You've been with him since he was 5. And you've made the transition to RGBA since 2018. But you've been with them since the age of 5, and Hector Beltran's been with them pretty much since he was an amateur.
Yes.
And a couple months ago, somebody interviewed Hector Beltran, and Hector Beltran wrote an article, and I read it, and he said that the way you guys, and correct me if I'm wrong, the way you guys got introduced to each other was you took Vergil to do some sparring with a fighter that Hector Beltran was training, yeah, and that's how the introduction happened. You liked the work that Hector was doing, and then you asked him if he was willing to work with your son.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah. So the way I met Hector was I always known of Hector, but we never. Once I got to Vivero's boxing gym, Hector was already. I don't know if he was already at another gym, but Hector was made at Vivero's boxing gym, just like a lot of guys were made there. It's a very, very good boxing gym. The foundation is very, very good. If I would start my fighters anywhere in the world, that's where I would start my guys. And that's just me being honest, not biased, because I see a lot. What happened is one day I took my son to go spar, and my son was sparring with an amateur he had. Was a very, very good amateur. Very good amateur. Good footwork, just very, very solid kid. And I remember my son was doing real good with him. And the father was on the side yelling stuff like "Está lento," like he's too slow, he don't have anything, this and that. Pretty much talking shit. And I wasn't saying nothing. I normally don't like to, because I know once I
cross the line,
I don't come back. I cross it, and I'll always leave it like that with that person. You know, not just with everybody, just that one person. So when I was leaving, I shook Hector's hand. Everybody told him, this and that. So we were leaving, and Hector came outside, and he told me like, hey, just don't listen to that guy. He's going to tell you, don't listen to me. Vergil's good. Like, you can just tell when somebody compliments you, hey, good job, this and that. You know, a lot of people, that's the right thing to do. The good thing to say, but you can just tell when it's different. You're like, the guy is impressed, or he really likes this and that. So I had asked Beltran, hey, would you want to help with my son? You want to, there's room for you if you want. Because I see how, I can tell how when a coach moves a certain kid a certain way. Some people do it because it's their way of doing things, but some people do it because that's what the kid needs. It's two different things. That's two big different things. And so when Hector's moving the kid a certain way, and then he'd move another kid another way, because the other kid, obviously that's not his way, or maybe he's limited into doing that. You just gotta work with something else. You can still help him that way, but you gotta be able to know realistically what he can do, what you can sharpen or tighten up, but what he can really do. So when he's doing that, I like that about him. I get along with him. He's a good guy. He's a fun guy. He comes from our gym, like I said, so the foundation's there no matter what. Plus, he's from that gym, and why not, So anyways, that's pretty much I had asked him, and he had told me that his son, he was gonna put his son in boxing. That once he starts his son, then he would really pretty much not say that he would go there. He'd really think about going over there, like, you know, to that way he could start with Vergil, help him this and that. So yeah, that's pretty much how we started. And you know, Hector has a lot of traits that that maybe I don't show my son, or because that's not what I do best. And Hector, so whatever I don't do best, Hector pretty much does best. And even not saying that whatever I don't do best isn't good enough, but he amps it up. And whatever Hector really, I wouldn't even say like, I would say like, I just do it, I might do it maybe a hair better, and that's how pretty much we complement each other. So and there's no ego, like, you know, like I always say, Hector trains my son. Hector does help me train my son. Robert helps me help Vita and Chepe. You know, I like for them to go in there to help them because, you know, maybe with my son, I know how to run my son better than anybody. That doesn't mean they don't have something to show him, because they can know. You can always learn something no matter what. So that's pretty much how I go about my team. When my son fights, I don't have to be in his corner. I'm in his corner every day here. You know, I do mess with him every day. Every day I do mess with my son. When I'm home, I do mess with him. So this helps them get, you know, get more familiar, even in a fight. My son's good enough where it's smart enough to know that even in a fight, if I'm not like the one in his corner in there, I'm still there. He still knows what to do. I still, you know, he still has his ways of doing things, and he understands. And so if Robert's in the corner, if Hector's in the corner, if me, Vita, or Chepe, my son's still going to do the exact same thing that we've asked him to do. And that's pretty much it.
And you've said in the past that you guys are really in sync. Like sometimes a minute into the fight or 2 minutes into the round, you guys will look at each other and you guys are on the same page already, and you guys already know what instructions you're going to give them in the corner because all of you are thinking the same thing.
Yeah. So you know, there's been times. There's times that you know, Robert usually, okay, so Robert is the one that's up there. So the right thing to do is to let Robert say what he has to say first. Whatever maybe he doesn't cover, then, you know, we'll try to cover it. But usually it's the same thing. We see the same, you know, the same thing. The styles are pretty much similar, the same. The only thing is that let's say if Robert's telling him something, you can ask Vergil to do something. If you want him to just do something a little bit different, just not too much, because you don't want to go the complete opposite. You still want to relate it to whatever we're trying to do, and it's easy. It's easy. And then in the corner, as you know, as Vergil's fighting and we're in the corner, you know, I'll tell Robert, hey, he needs to do this. This is good. He sees it. He needs to do that. And you know, Robert go up there and he'll tell them, and we're already adjusting down here. We don't wait to go up there and say it. We're already adjusting, so we're already telling each other. So it's easy. For us, it's easy. It's real easy. You know, who goes up, who puts what in, who gives water, who's holding the Vaseline, who's the swelling, whatever. It's easy. So we all know our place, where we're at, but we all know that in the place that we're at, nobody's higher than the other, and that's the important thing right there.
I always liked when you shared with us that you try to be the last one to tell them the last instruction, which is the one that they memorize, the one that they remember the best. So usually at the very end, when he's standing up and ready to go, you tell him, hey, keep your hands up.
Keep your hands up.
Keep your hands up.
The last thing, you know, you can tell them whatever you want, and a lot of guys will listen, but they always remember the last thing you tell them. You tell them, keep your hands up. Keep your hands up. That's it. And that's always. It's just a habit, you know, and that's a human habit that everybody has. You know, you can, if you pay attention too much or something, you'll forget because you're just trying to pay too much attention. So we try to do it easy going with them. But yeah, that's pretty much it on that part.
In answering a question earlier, you mentioned the qualities of a fighter, and that's something that the Big G and Robert here have always, like, they have their theology of what boxing is. And between the Big G and Robert, they've always said there's 5 qualities to a great boxer, and some good fighters might have 4 out of 5, some of them might have 3, some of them might, you know, just have natural talent and be missing the discipline. So that's something that that you touched on, and I wanted to mention it. Another thing that you mentioned earlier that I wanted to touch on too, that I want you to elaborate a little bit on, is all those Olympians that came out of Gene's gym. Gene started his gym, if I'm not mistaken, in the mid-90s.
Yes.
Out of Oakcliff.
In Oakcliff.
And
which is Dallas. It's a suburb.
It's a suburb in Dallas. And I have the names written, but I think I'm going to be able to mention them right now. Luis Yanez, which is a 108 pounder, right?
Well, he was a bad boy. He's minus fact. I believe that when the Cubans were beating everybody, dominating everybody, he's the only one that beat the Cubans. He is the only one that beat the Cubans.
What's his nickname? Handsome? Is it Handsome?
No, that's Hector.
That's Hector.
That's the Latin legend. They call him Latin legend because he beat the Cubans, and they called him La Leyenda, and that's why.
And I've tried to do a little bit of research, so I think 2008 might have been when he was competing for the Olympics, maybe?
I believe so.
Maybe?
I believe so.
Okay, and then and in talking to Hector said that he trained him as a pro. Once Luis turned pro, that Hector was actually his trainer.
Yeah, Hector was his trainer even as an amateur.
Oh, even as an amateur.
Even as an amateur. Hector was his trainer as an amateur, and then after that was he still trained him even as a pro. Yes.
And then, okay, so 2008, we jumped to 2012. Errol Spence.
Errol Spence came out of
that gym.
He was gone already though a year. When Errol Spence left our gym, I believe he was ranked number 3rd in the world in the amateurs. And then when he left, I think he had left just right before the Golden Gloves or something like that. The national Golden, something like that. And then he lost. He came in second in the finals, and then he went back, I believe, again, and then he won, and then he went on from there to go to the Olympics and stuff. But he was there.
Right. He was made there.
He was there, yeah.
Just tell us where we can follow you on social media and tell us any closing statements that you want to tell us, Vergil.
You can follow me on Facebook, just Vergil Ortiz. On Instagram and on Twitter is Vergil Ortiz SR Senior, because my son obviously that's Vergil Ortiz.
Sure.
No, nothing. Just really, follow. Just make sure you guys follow this kid. This is gonna be one of the good ones. This is a kid, the one that people, the Mexican people and people in general, but the Mexican people have been waiting for. I mean, this kid, we come from, we don't think we're better than anybody. This is a kid that comes, that you can be in your neighborhood, that you would, he's one of you. Follow him because he's still really good. He really is. And when he trains hard not only for himself and his family, but for all of you guys. And that's it, man. He's fun.
Last thing, there's a show that I've been going on and helping them out every once in a while. Can you give a shout out to the show Hispanics Causing Panic?
Shout out to Hispanics Causing Panics.
D-Style and G-Funky. Thank you for your time, Vergil.
Yes, sir. You take care.